Well, hello, YouTube fans, friends, new recruits, and veterans to the channel. Here we are, Alternate History Gaming, where we'd try to replay history, but we can't, so it's alternate. I am your humble and gracious player host, Bank60s, and we are back once again with Scourge of War, Gettysburg, the remastered edition. We do want to try and learn together how it is you can create some really epic battles, those division, corps, army versus army scenarios, and I'll try and go through and teach you just how things play out when you try to command things at those higher levels here in Scourge of War. The first thing to know is that we're going to be doing sandbox play, so you won't be using these scenarios here. You'll get back to the main menu and you'll end up in the sandbox, right? So a very important part of this is to understand that we are going to have some mods, one in particular that helps you play this style of large, high-level command, Corps v Corps, Army v Army type of battle more easily here in Scourge of War. So let's check out what we have. I've added a particular mod for flavor, by the way. That would be the first one you see here, Cavalry Artillery et al. Retextured. I think that's a useful, good mod. Red Bugler, Randy did a good job with that. As you can see here, all horses and mule teams retextured in various shades of brown and black so that they don't all look the same out there. I like that. Here is the one that's the most important to use, though. The Gettysburg Grog Toolbar X64. It will become more apparent as we jump into the gameplay itself why it's so important to have this toolbar enabled in your modifications when you're playing these larger sandbox scenarios. When you go to Steam, you select the Workshop tab in Steam, and it works like how you add and subscribe to modifications for just about any other game. And the Workshop is really robust for the Scourge of War products. Honestly, compared to many other games, I think it works rather well and even better. I think that some other games neglect the Workshop altogether. But you begin by subscribing to Grog Toolbar, and then you will come back into your game, click the Modifications tab as we have here. You will click the check mark in the circle next to Grog Toolbar like this. You, since I've already done it, I won't, but you will click the check mark. At that point, you then need to resign and get out of the game and restart your game. For all of those who are supporters of the channel, we are a pretty small community here right now. There's a lot of folks who follow the channel closely. I would appreciate it if you did. Go ahead, give me that thumbs up. It helps the stream get out there to more folks. Anybody who ends up watching the stream later on and hasn't seen a whole lot of the channel, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe. I want to keep growing things here. Thank you for that ahead of time. Right off the bat, I'm going to push pause. I hate doing that, but for this, I think it's important for us to just take a moment and survey what we have in front of us and the way that it's laid out for us to begin the scenario, as well as just take some time to reacquaint ourselves with the Grog Toolbar. You'll notice the Grog Toolbar here does not look at all like the base game toolbar. Everything is here for you, all in one UI. A couple of things that are really important and really make the Grog Toolbar one of the best ways to play a really complex, high-level, large-scale battle scenario is these buttons on the far right here. And it's really important that you understand and appreciate just how they can be used, because they will be important as we get into some of the movements of these larger formations going forward. You have take charge of officers. Now what that means is you will take charge of the officers who are all subordinate to the officer that you have selected. And the thing to make that's very a point to remind about is an understanding of what the function of take charge is. A reminder that when you click take charge, that means that that unit, that general, will not change what they are currently tasked with doing, whether that be standing still or moving somewhere, unless you tell them to change. So if I'm General John B. Hood and I want to make sure that none of his subordinate brigade commanders start doing anything on their own, for instance, changing formation or changing their facing and getting all willy-nilly here in the map, you want to take charge of officers. Let's look at some of our other brigade commanders and just make sure we've got them on take charge all the same. You can see Brigadier General George T. Anderson on take charge. The same for Robertson's brigade, and I think it's safe to assume that we're good with Benning as well. Now, we'll go back to me, and now we'll cover the take charge off all subordinates. Now, this is important because when you click this button, it doesn't just take charge off of all of the officers. This is the clear take charge on all subordinate officers and units too. So it's the opposite of this button here, which we'll go over in just a moment. But if we click that now, bam, what did that do? Let's go back. Oh, we didn't unpause the game. Now you can see General Anderson is off take charge and able to do whatever he wants. But I don't want him going willy-nilly right now. We'll check General Robertson, same thing, off take charge, but we'll take him back for now. And let's do the same thing with the other brigades, Law and Benning. So you can see how that worked right there. Now, let's do another quick one, which is we've already got the officers on take charge of the whole division, all of the brigade officers. Well, let's go ahead and let's quickly take charge of everybody. And this is especially useful as you go back and look at my top tutorials, volume 1 of how to move a brigade all at once, how you want to be able to put units back on to take charge so that they will not stop moving. So once we get the division moving, a lot of the time anyway, if you're confident that the division won't run into enemy troops, you will want to click this button, take charge on all subordinates, which means that take charge will go on for officers and for all of the units, or at least it should. So let's check here. We've got Anderson, and let's go to one of his regiments, the 7th Georgia, which you'll see is now on take charge. And I want to reinforce right here, this is the most important aspect of Scourge of War. The game used to be called Take Command for a reason, because this button interaction, the flag, taking charge or not, was the focal point of the whole game system as far as moving and commanding troops. So that's the first thing to really understand. Take charge on versus take charge off. It's really important. Let's start by going back to our division commander. Let's go take charge off, right? Then let's get the division moving toward some destination, and we won't go too far away, and we'll form them up. There's two ways you can go about it, of course, a number of ways, two in particular. And that is, of course, to right-click and move Hood, and he'll start moving. Now, I could go ahead and execute that selected command just by itself, or I could go ahead and quickly start right-clicking a bunch of what pops up here. That's one of the utilities of the Grog toolbar that actually does work pretty well compared to the base game toolbar in the remastered version of Scourge of War Gettysburg. So we'll go ahead, execute that, right? Well, in order to get the rest of his division on the move, we need to, you'll remember, select a formation for the division. We'll go ahead and select a formation right here. And we'll get it in line, okay? And so now everybody's moving. And in any regular, normal, average circumstance, I would want to go ahead and put all officers back on take charge. Now we'll go ahead and speed it up. And let's see where everybody ends up. A division line formation means that every brigade in the division will be lined up abreast of one another, but each brigade will be in double line formation. That is what comprises a division line formation here in the game. Now, let's see what another formation looks like. Okay, let's again click our TC off all subordinates, and let's go here. Let's form up in double line. All right, so now you're going to have two brigades up front, both also in double line. You can see them still moving in their column formation in that double line. Now they're deploying. Then you'll have the other two brigades directly behind, also in double line. And so it is a very deep formation. Good for a strong punching attack along a narrow front. So there is your division double line. So you see all of that right there. Very cut and dry, pretty simple, the way that you move things together as a division. It's good to get used to that. It's good to see it, because moving as a division is, in these larger scenarios that I'm going to show you, what you're going to be busy doing for the most part. Now, here is where the Grog toolbar comes in very handy, and I'll show it to you now so that you can get acquainted with it, because it's going to be the biggest help to you when you get into these large, complex engagements here in just a little bit when I show you that. The command map. Now, the base game doesn't have this in it, or at least I haven't found it. It just has a map. So there's a difference between the map, which allows you to actually go around from place to place and move the camera to that place, right? There's a difference between that and the command map, which is the same thing, right, initially, but it's different, okay? So you can do all of what we just did, using the pointer, changing formations, moving the division forward, and all the rest, using the command map. So let's go back to me, okay, Hood, got to take charge. Let's take charge for everybody. I always, by the way, that's something I just get in the habit of triple checking all the time. That I've got everybody off take charge when I want to make sure to move the whole formation, and oftentimes try to put them back on take charge for all subordinates or officers, depending on the situation, when I want to make sure and keep the troops moving. So let's take command of me. We've got everybody off. Great. Okay, now I am going to left click on a portion of the map that is ahead of the division. Let's say right there. Okay, you will see me now moving there. Now all we have to do is select a formation, right? So let's go division in line. And off everybody will go. We will go select TC on all subordinates so that they will keep moving and not stop. And that is how you can very quickly and easily, simply get a whole division on the move right where you want it on the line from the bird's eye view here on the map. That is the magic stuff right there. That's how you get everybody where they're supposed to be. That's how you don't get overwhelmed. The command map is strictly the most useful for getting large formations of troops, artillery, or cavalry from one place to another place on the map without having to spend a whole bunch of time scrolling to that place on the map or getting confused by clicking the map and then getting the camera there and then orienting the camera in the facing that you want them to be in and then right-clicking to get Hood up there and then formation. Just use the command map. You got Hood. You move him forward. Boom. Formation. Bam. Line. Forward they come for a little closer to Gettysburg as a result of basically 2 clicks. I would say that just about covers an infantry division and moving with those large formations for now. So this time, I'm going to jump into the command map and issue the division in order to move. And I'll be especially interested to see where the artillery ends up. Okay, off, take command for all subordinates, command map. And we're going to go straight south to here. And then we're going to form up in this formation, column with reserves. And then, of course, if you want to get the whole formation on the double time, there you have that. Okay, so you can see here, they just get set in one big, long columns formation with the artillery way at the back, right? Now let's go. Now, okay, this is actually pretty important to know. I didn't mention this the last time we used the command map to move the formation around. If you go, say, to the east a long way, and he starts running over there, right? And let's form up in double line again, and let's go double time. The whole division will now change facing. Okay, that's important to understand. It's another way to move the division around and get it to change facing as you go, but you got to make sure before you get too crazy that you understand that which way your division commander is facing before you start going too crazy with your movement order for the whole formation. And by the way, I don't want to be too particular. You can see the facing of the entire division is thus, right? If you want to just make sure that you kind of pick a spot that's centrally located, that's right out in front of the division, boom, right there like that, and then do the old column and line. We know that will stack them up, right? And then I'll do just a quick run through of the way that I like to set up your typical Corps v Corps action. So I'd probably set this one up on the East Cavalry field. That way, we may be a little bit more likely to get into action sooner. I'm not going to actually play a battle, but I just wanted to kind of show you how you can use some of the tips that I've already showed, getting divisions in place along the line, and also using some of these tips to move larger artillery battalions around the map too. All right, so we'll do the East Cavalry field. It'll be Corps v Corps. We do want to balance forces. We'll stick with Hunt Them Down. I've found Hunt Them Down is the best way to do any sandbox battle, either single player or multiplayer, hands down. If you don't do it that way, I've just never found that it works out so great. You can line them up to where they're within line of sight of one another. That's fine, but it just doesn't allow for much maneuver. And I like the maneuver part of any battle. So the other thing, when you get into a Corps v Corps action, I like to bring the number of objectives up to like 6. Okay, we'll keep them at these values. We'll have the 60 points or 60-minute threshold. Start time's good. Game length, I think a Corps v Corps, 2 hours works just fine. Usually, 3 hours works better. Usually. Let's jump in as Longstreet's Corps, huh? Okay. Now, this is where oftentimes you can feel a little daunted. See, I've gone ahead, I've selected Take Charge of Officers. to keep any of my troops from just moving anywhere, changing facing and doing all that just on their own. The first thing that I'm going to go to is to the map. And now you can see how everybody's lined out, where all the objectives are, and you can kind of get a sense of where it is you're going to want to go for whatever sandbox battle it is that you're playing, or whether you're going to want to start over, refresh the map, refresh the objectives, and start a new one, so that maybe the objectives are placed on the map in a way that will give you the kind of battle that you're looking for. But now we've got a whole lot more troops to work with, right? We have 3 divisions. We know that because it's Longstreet's Corps, Pickett, Hood, McLaws. Now, this next tip is really important because you're going to get overwhelmed and it's going to waste too much time trying to click from place to identify which general that you're looking to move. Click there, click on him, do everything, come back to the command map. It just doesn't work well that way. The way you want to do it is you want to go to your order of battle. Okay? I want to click McLaw's division. I want to select him. Now that I've got him selected, there will be a little green star that pops up. You can't quite see it so well here. So let's try a different division so you can see it a little bit better. Okay? Let's go to Hood's division. Select the unit. And there you can see a green star pops up where that commander is, here on the command map. So, in order to go ahead and advance on that objective, I've got Hood selected. I am going to take charge of everybody, take charge of him again, make sure that he is on take charge. We're going to come to here on the command map, pardon me, here, and then he is going to form line with his division. We're going to go ahead and select all officers, take command, right? And they'll get moving. And I don't want to stop there. I want to get back to my command map. I want this battery, Matthias Henry. Go to my OOB. Matthias Henry, select him. X out of that. Boom, boom. And we'll set him up here. And he'll get into a battery line, and we'll let them take the road. All right? And now all of these guns will get on the move. You can go with one click, I believe, get them all going in double time. All the ones that'll do it anyway. And so now, with just a few clicks, we've gotten Hood's whole division and all this artillery on the move. Okay, here's a bit that I think is really great to point out right off the top of getting into the core scenario. The difference between the real map and the command map is that with the command map, when you bring it up, it will show where your troops are ordered to go. The map will show you where they currently are. It's important to know that difference. And I know that this is looking a little janky right here. When you get up there, you do want to try to remember to try and clean it up when they get to the point where they've reached their destination and they're about to deploy out in the full formation. Okay? So next, let's go to Pickett's division. Okay? Pickett. Select him. Off all. Boom. And we'll make him the center division in the line. Form line. Off they'll go. We'll get his officers back under take command so that nobody stops, nobody changes anything. Next bit, command map. Let's get Cabell going. Boom. Boom. Select unit. I just do that as a double take, double make sure. And we'll go here and we'll form battery line. We'll let them take the road because that's what you do a lot of the time. All right, so then we'll have McLaw's division. Now, what I want to do with it is keep it kind of in reserve, and we'll form him up about right here like this. Let's bring this up. Let's go select McLaw's, select unit, off all, boom. Now, he's going to go kind of right out to here. And he'll form double line with his division. Boom. Let's go back to our command map and let's grab Deering. And now you can see where McLaws has been ordered to go already, right there on the command map. We'll probably end up specifically deploying brigades as we see fit, right? But let's get Deering on the move. Select unit. Let's get him going right there. We'll go double line with that artillery battalion. Back to our command map. And there you see how they form up in that double line battery formation. And off they go. Next up is to make sure the ordnance supply wagons all get where they need to be, of course. And that's kind of a last little bit. But as you can see, since they are off of take charge, they'll follow their division commander. And they'll go where they're supposed to go in each division and artillery battalion's formation. And then we could take, I'm going to go to a regiment since I want to try to get there as quick as possible every time and just go boom, boom, 2 times to get back up to Hood. Okay, and then we'll just kind of, we'll just rejigger him a little bit, right? We'll just send him there, reform his line. Just like that. Now this will end up kind of looking a little bit cleaner. The way I like. That. These guys can stay the way they are. And now we've got a whole corps on the move. Just like that. Not as hard as you think it would be, and it's all a credit to Randy and his Grog toolbar, frankly. And again, you click back on the command map to see where everybody's going, where they're going to end up. Click on the regular map to see where they are right now. Boom. Boom. And that, my friends, is how you get a whole bunch of troops on the move here in Scourge of War. I think on our next one, we'll actually try fighting a real battle for real here in a Core v Core sandbox. And I'll try to make sure you don't have to wait a whole week before we get to the next installment either. Hit that bell notification to find out the next time I drop a stream or video for you. And until then, I am Bank 60s. This is Scourge of War and Alternate History Gaming. We'll see you on the next one.